Hey YouTubers, it's Valerie with Money Mindset Coach, and today I've been talking about a lot of stuff lately, and I don't feel like I've been talking that much about money like I normally do. So I thought about it the other day, and I thought, it's time for an actual financial video where I just kind of, talk about what's on my mind and what has occurred to me. And I got to tell you, I started looking because here we are. It's getting close to the end of May. And we are going to be in June. We're going to be in the 6th month of the year. And I got to tell you, it seemed like it was just January, It was just January. And we are already going to be in June. Half the year is going to be over. And time is just going by too fast. It's just going by too fast. But I wanted to talk today about, I am more convinced with the way that this year has gone. I believe more than ever that everybody needs a savings, everybody needs an emergency fund. I really don't think that this could be repeated too many times. I really, truly believe that. And partly the reason I even thought about doing this is I am going to tell you the over regular living expenses, things that I have had to shell money out for so far this year. And aside from January, there has been something every month. This is why we prepare like this, with a savings, with an emergency fund, because these things that I'm going to talk about happen. And you have to be ready for them. Because if you're not, how are you going to pay for it? You're either going to have debt where you make payments, maybe it's a medical debt or something like that. Or, things where you don't have the money for it, so you put it on a credit card. And then you have interest added to that. And then you shell out more money. So this video is about what I have had to shell out, that I have had to use my savings for. I wouldn't say any of these were emergency. I wouldn't really classify them like that, but I'm going to tell you what they are, and you can tell me if you think I'm wrong, because maybe I am. Okay, January was no spend, low spend. You don't go anywhere. You don't do anything in January. You've spent your Christmas money and stuff in December. So basically, January was uneventful. But in February, as some of this might have happened to some of you, you get a statement from your mortgage company saying that your escrow was short. Well, mine was short $740. In the month of February, I get that. I have to pay $740 by the end of February, or my mortgage payment is going up $100. Or my mortgage payment goes up a little bit if I pay the $740. So what do I want to do? The $740 overall is going to be less than what if I was paying $100, because that would be like $1,200. So the better thing is to pay the $740, which is what I did. So that was something over and above my regular expenses in the month of February. In March, I found that I had tire rot on my tires, which my tires were coming up on 6 years old. I had to buy new tires. Now, that's not an emergency. You shouldn't look at it as an emergency, because if you have a car, the tires you have on that car are not going to last indefinitely. They are going to have to be replaced. So you can't look at that as an emergency. You really can't. And that was $685 in the month of March. Okay, April, you do your wonderful taxes. And I basically owed $444 in taxes because my employer doesn't take taxes out. So I'm like an independent contractor, and so I have to pay my taxes and figure it out, everything. So I have a lot of money saved. It's not like I put money aside to pay my taxes. I just deal with it when I have to pay it. And that was $444. But because Missouri has a thing, if you're 65 and over and you're at a certain income level, they pay up to $1,000 of your property tax, which I worked today. I'm so tired. My taxes are right at $1,000. So because of that, the state of Missouri actually gave me a refund of $156. So that took away from the $444. So you deduct $156 from $444, and I think it was like $280 or something was what I had to pay in the month of April for my taxes, which, considering $685 for tires in March and $740 for the escrow shortage in February, really didn't seem like that much. May, I just had a car repair. Now, I don't consider that an emergency either. Not really. When my oldest son changed my oil, he actually noticed the beginning of an oil leak with my car. And I gotta tell you, oil leaks don't go away and they don't get better. They're only going to get worse. So I went to my mechanic and I said to him, I said, my son thinks that there's some oil leak going on. He fixed it. And then the serpentine belt looked kind of old. We have no idea how old it was. I had it replaced too. So I just had a car repaired this last week in the month of May, $247. Now that is pretty low for a car repair. That's really not that bad. So anyway, $247 in the month of May. Okay. That brings me to the dentist. I went to the dentist last week and, no cavities. Everything seemed fine, but there is one tooth that has some cracks in it. It's going to need a crown. They don't want it to break, that kind of thing. Well, I have my Medicare Advantage plan, which has dental on it. And because of that, this crown, whenever I do decide to get it done sometime this year, it'll be $740. And that does sound like a lot of money, and it is. But if I didn't have insurance, it would be $2,400. Yeah. So $700 and something, that's really not that bad. And it's just a crown. It's not a root canal too. I've had those. and they are not fun. So anyway, that is nothing compared to the bridge that I had done on this side. That, with the insurance that I had at the time, a bridge is like $10,000, and I paid $6,000. So $700 and some for a crown really isn't that bad. Now, when I did go to the dentist, they do the whole thing with the gums and the whole bit, and the Medicare Advantage plan pays for everything except the laser that they use. That's $90. So I had to pay that the other day. So, when you add it all up, that's quite a bit of money. And you have to remember that I have had alimony up until the month of April. So for the last 2 months, I have not had alimony. So my income has been $2,000 less than what it was for the last 9 years. So I'm doing okay. I really am. And right now my bosses are on vacation, so I have all of these extra hours at work, so I will make more money than I normally do. And the paycheck that I get this next week is the third paycheck of the month, which I talked about that in another video. That's being totally saved. Because when you shell out the money from your savings or your emergency fund, you need to replace that money. Otherwise, the balance just keeps going down. You got to get it back up there. So that is what I'm doing with this third paycheck of May. I am acting like it doesn't exist. And it goes into, I have like a checking account, but then I have a sub-checking where I can put money into a certain thing, kind of separate it out, called reserve. And that's where that money is going to go. It's going to go in the reserve. That's kind of where I'm putting money for my breeding business. I'm kind of putting money aside for that too, totally separate. So, yeah. But you have to have savings, and you have to have an emergency fund. And it's just very important. And I have to say, until the last 6 years, I went my whole life not having that. And I got to tell you, I have so much more peace now than I ever had before. Yeah, I have a lot of peace. A lot of peace and a lot of contentment. And I tell you what, when you have that savings account, when you have that 3 to 6 months living expenses, Susie Orman even talks about having a year of living expenses saved up. You don't have to go that far, but 6 months is good. Start with just putting aside a month worth. And that is not your normal budget. When you figure out what you have to have per month, it is what you need to survive. None of the extra stuff. We're not talking miscellaneous. We're not talking going out to eat. We're not talking buying clothes. We're not talking about any of that. We are talking about total bills: rent, mortgage, utilities, car payment, insurance, all the things that are fixed that you have to have. And you have to have food. Everything else, you're not counting any of those other things. We are not talking about normal living. We are talking about surviving. How much do you need every month to pay your bills. Now, if you've got credit card debt, you're going to have to put in what the minimum payment is on those credit cards because you have to keep paying those. That's part of, doing what you got to do. And I truly believe, I don't like bankruptcy, personal especially. I feel that if you have credit cards and you have charged them up, it's your responsibility to pay those. Filing bankruptcy. I mean, some people are in a position to where they have nothing else that they can do. Those are dire circumstances. Dire. But if you have run up credit cards, I'm sorry, but you owe that money. It's not the credit card's fault that you ran the credit card up. It's not. So, I think it's important to pay your bills, to pay your debts. Very, very important. So anyway, that's all for that. We spent about 15 minutes on that. I wanted to tell you, I got with my calligraphy pen set. I just got it, and I was reading the instruction booklet. It's got a little workbook. It's quite something, and it's going to take some practice. And I hope that it ends up being kind of a hobby and that I end up really liking it. But I just, that was probably a splurge with my Mother's Day money. But still, it's like, gotta have fun. And that's going to be fun. That's going to be kind of like a hobby. Last night we had the rehearsal dinner for the wedding that's going to be on Sunday. This is Friday. And oh my gosh, we went to a fabulous Italian restaurant in St. Louis. Never went there before, but the food was amazing. I had lasagna, and I swear, the serving they gave me, it was like 2. The size. It was huge. I couldn't eat all of it. I ate half of it, brought the other half home, had that for dinner tonight. So that's nice. Yeah. My boyfriend had carbonara. He didn't care for it. Now, he doesn't like Italian food. So maybe that might have been part of it. I don't know. I have no idea. But it was a wonderful time with family, great food, great company, and we had a great time. And the wedding is going to be, that was just the beginning, was the rehearsal dinner. So the wedding is going to be amazing. And I cannot wait. I have my new dress. I already posted a video about that. And I positively love the dress. And I am so looking forward to being able to wear it. So, just get that savings, save however you can. It doesn't matter how little. Make a game out of it. There was somebody that I listened to at one point in time. I think it might have been David Bach. I don't hear about him anymore. But he wrote a lot of books and was very popular there for a while. But he talked about paying yourself first. And what he meant by that was that first hour of the day, whatever you make, per hour, it's not going to be the same if you're salary. You could probably figure out what hourly would be if you were. But he said every day, take that first hour and save it. So, you know what? If you make $20 an hour, that's $100 a week if you work Monday through Friday. That is $400 a month. If you just take that $20 that you're making per day, it's amazing. It is amazing how small amounts add up to really big things. There's all different kinds of ways to do it. I think I've done a video on different ways to save and how I do it. I'm always looking for innovative, new, fun ways to save. It's always fun. And, it's so worth it. It is so worth it. But you have to start. You have to start and you have to be consistent. And you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. So, like I always say, use it up, wear it out, make it do, or do without. Till next time. Bye.